A lot of my business is customers bringing jobs to us. But when we go picking and looking for stuff to restore on our own, it's almost always more profitable.
American Restoration won fans by transforming forgotten vintage treasures into stunning restorations through skill and dedication. Rick Dale and his crew made every project feel personal, combining expert craftsmanship with family warmth. Behind the scenes, however, network pressure reportedly pushed the show toward scripted drama and manufactured conflict. As Rick fought to preserve its authenticity, tensions grew. What caused the beloved series to collapse and return as a reboot that many fans rejected? Rise of American Restoration. American Restoration began as a genuine celebration of craftsmanship, rooted deeply in Rick Dale's skill and passion for bringing vintage Americana back to life. The show debuted in 2010, motivated by viewers' fascination that first sparked during Rick's appearances on Pawn Stars. Unlike many reality TV programs, this series offered an authentic window into a family-run restoration shop, where raw metal transformed into gleaming relics with history and soul. Rick's expertise, honed since childhood, was central to the show's authenticity. From classic motorcycles to vintage soda machines and antique gas pumps, the variety of projects showcased not only technical mastery but also a reverence for preservation. The shop's atmosphere was warm and familial, with personalities like Rick's wife Kelly managing the business, his son Tyler learning the ropes, and a close-knit crew sharing laughs and challenges throughout each episode. This realness resonated strongly with audiences around the world. In its prime, American Restoration drew nearly 3 million viewers per week and aired in over 80 countries. The show's appeal was magnified by celebrity clients like Billy Joel, David Copperfield, and Sammy Hagar, who brought in prized memorabilia for restoration. Over 6 seasons, Rick transitioned from local craftsman to recognizable television star, embodying both expertise and approachable charm. Crucially, the show's early focus was on process, as viewers were walked through complex restorations step by step, learning about techniques and the trouble spots, even the honor of reviving American history. The work felt meticulous and paced kinda realistically, with real frustrations and real triumphs kept on camera. That transparency, made people respect the craft deeply, and also Rick himself more than before. Building a connection through shared history and hard work is what really helped American Restoration stand out in that crowded reality TV scene. It wasn't only entertainment, it acted like a cultural touchstone, reminding viewers why old things are worth keeping. And as the seasons went on, Rick's family kept showing up as core players, so the whole thing felt like a working family enterprise rather than some polished studio production. Crossovers with the sister shows like Counting Cars and American Pickers helped widen the vintage Americana universe, while basically putting Rick Dale's shop at the center of it. This kind of teamwork also made American Restoration feel locked in as a vital piece of History Channel's lineup. The mix of personalities and projects had this steady narrative feel that fans actually cared about, not just tolerated. Still, under that success, there were the first tiny sparks of pressure, like something was brewing. Networks, always chasing ratings and wider appeal, started nudging the show toward more dramatic, slightly heightened storytelling. Early on, the seasons balanced entertainment with integrity, but the groundwork was already being built for a shift, one that would end up changing everything that made American Restoration feel different. That growing push-pull, preserving authenticity versus meeting entertainment demands, would soon boil over, and it threatened to undo what so many people had come to love. Viewers' increasing skepticism about the show's integrity set the stage for the network's deepening control behind the scenes. Behind-the-scenes control. As American Restoration gained popularity, producers started tightening the reins on creative control. steering the show away from pure craftsmanship toward manufactured drama. Left Field Pictures, the production company also behind Pawn Stars, applied its proven formula of scripted tension and conflict to Rick's shop. Conversations once unscripted became rehearsed, and timelines for restorations were compressed or rearranged to enhance suspense. Evidence of this shift included repeated filming of customer interactions, once to capture inquiries and again to reveal finished restorations, clearly indicating staged moments rather than spontaneous reality. Restoration projects were often presented with urgency, exaggerated for viewers, despite the natural pace such work truly requires. This producer interference created a mismatch between the true restoration process and its televised portrayal. Moreover, producers dictated who would appear on the show and even controlled pricing negotiations for restoration work. Instead of Rick's usual customers, clients were picked to serve the narrative, with restorations often funded by the show itself. Rick and his team became performers, executing tasks directed by producers rather than entrepreneurs running a real business. Deadlines became increasingly unrealistic. The crew was shown scrambling to complete restorations within tight, often impossible timeframes, implausible in the world of vintage restoration, where patience and precision are essential. Experts in the restoration community criticized this approach, emphasizing that rushed work sacrifices quality and the integrity of historic items. To heighten interpersonal conflict, the show kind of started to lean into scripted arguments and then added new characters, which were meant to nudge drama along. There was one moment people really didn't like, with a cast member named Leonard. His arrival was talked about by fans as a big misstep, and somehow it helped push them further away from caring. That pivot into soap opera-style tension kinda threw the original fan base off, the ones who still wanted the emphasis on restoration, not this made-up discord. In the end, all these shifts slowly chipped away at how authentic the show felt. Longtime viewers began complaining in forums and on social media. They kept saying they missed the craftsmanship, and they were tired of petty workplace drama. The comments varied. Like some folks were just flat-out bored by family quarrels, while others sounded let down that educational content, which used to separate the show, was missing or watered down. Professional restorers were even more blunt. A lot of them called out devastating changes to original pieces, things like repainting with colors that didn't match, swapping vintage parts with unsuitable substitutes, and wiping away historical nuances while claiming it was restoration. It was a totally different vibe from the respect for heritage that early seasons had, and all that behind-the-scenes meddling really made a noticeable rift between what viewers saw on screen and what was actually happening at Rick Dale's shop. Then, the network, with its ratings pressure, started to suffocate the integrity that made American Restoration such a beloved show, and it set the stage for a conflict Rick couldn't really tolerate anymore. So yeah, with tensions building backstage, Rick's eventual choice to walk away from the show became pretty inevitable, and it landed hard with the audience. The way the audience reacted as the show's focus shifted revealed just how deeply viewers valued authenticity over manufactured drama. Fan backlash and declining authenticity. Fans who once praised American Restoration's honest portrayal began to voice strong disapproval as the show veered into staged conflicts and scripted scenes. Online forums and comment sections grew vocal, with complaints that the program prioritized interpersonal drama over the painstaking restoration work that had originally captivated audiences. Viewers lamented that the careful process was reduced to quick before and after shots with little explanation. Many viewers specifically criticized the new focus on personal issues, distractions, and scripted arguments among crew members. One fan summarized the sentiment simply: "I don't care about who bought a dog or who gets in trouble at school. I thought this was about restoration, not soap operas." Such reactions showed that audiences longed for the skill and history, not reality TV-style feuds. Restoration professionals added another layer of disappointment. Complaints surfaced about how original paint was stripped unnecessarily, colors were brightened inaccurately, and crucial historical details were overwritten or lost. Restorers argued that the show was misleading viewers about proper methods and was actively damaging priceless artifacts for the sake of entertainment. One notorious example involved Rick's brother Ron, who appeared on Pawn Stars pretending not to know Rick while promoting a restoration request, a stunt fans quickly exposed as fabricated cross-promotion. Such scenes shattered trust and made the authenticity of the entire show feel suspect. Likewise, the substitution of an identical, but not original, slot machine for restoration on camera deepened skepticism. The cumulative effect was a growing erosion of goodwill. Longtime fans stopped tuning in, expressing dismay on social media and forums that American Restoration had become a bickering soap opera rather than an educational showcase. Ratings began to reflect this disinterest, as viewers sought more genuine restoration shows elsewhere. Despite multiple attempts to introduce new characters and heighten drama, the show lost the natural chemistry and family dynamic that had once drawn viewers in. The warmth and genuine passion of Rick and his crew, once the heart of the program, now felt overshadowed by producer-driven narratives and contrived conflicts. Ultimately, the backlash from fans and professionals alike signaled a breaking point. American Restoration was no longer the trusted source for restoration enthusiasts, but a cautionary tale about the dangers of sacrificing authenticity for theatrics. What followed was a bold, costly decision by Rick that would change the course of the show and his career forever. When a craftsman chooses integrity over fame, the consequences ripple far beyond a single television set, forever altering the story of the show he built. Rick Dale's breaking point. After years of watching the show he built become a shadow of its original self, Rick Dale finally reached his breaking point. Faced with mounting producer interference, scripted drama, and unrealistic demands, Rick refused to renew his contract for what would have been the 7th season. Walking away meant giving up a lucrative deal that likely paid him over $1 million annually. But for Rick, preserving his integrity and returning control to his business was more important than the money. Rick was exhausted from being treated like an actor rather than a craftsman. The show, which once celebrated restoration as an art form, had by then morphed into a saccharine sitcom, dominated by manufactured conflict and stage-managed scenes. His passion for true restoration clashed directly with the network's priorities, which focused heavily on entertainment value and ratings, leaving little respect for the painstaking work behind each project. In a heartfelt video posted online, Rick publicly addressed fans, thanking them for their support and asking them to share their disappointment on the official American Restoration website. His emotional message revealed a man torn between love for his craft and frustration with the constraints imposed by the production company and network. He pleaded for viewers to stand with him, expressing a deep sorrow over the situation and a desire to reclaim the authenticity that made the show beloved. The History Channel's response came in fast, and yeah, kind of blunt too. Instead of even trying to talk it through or properly consider Rick's concerns, they went ahead without him. Like, the whole original cast and crew was suddenly gone. And then, boom, a totally new format and lineup showed up. That no-mess, business-first attitude left a lot of fans feeling thrown off and kinda crushed, as if the network just tossed aside the real pulse of the show. After that, rumors and all kinds of guessing started to spin. People said Rick had become, complicated to deal with. Others hinted at clashes with clients or contracts, but still, none of that was ever proved. What it really came down to, at least in plain sight, was a values conflict. One side wanting authenticity from a craftsman mindset, the other side pushing manufactured drama and tight control over how everything looked. Rick walking away took real nerve. In an industry where money and advantage so often move ahead of principles, he chose to give up fame, income, and visibility rather than allow his work to get turned into scripted entertainment. For many viewers, it landed hard because it matched that familiar fight to keep things honest in a landscape driven by ratings and the next big spectacle. In the end, what happened after Rick left basically signaled the start of the decline for the original spirit of American Restoration. Without the man and the team that had built the show's identity, it was heading toward a shaky future, one that would lean on less genuine connection and more uncertainty overall. The network's drastic reinvention of the show set the stage for an experiment that would alienate longtime fans and reshape the series entirely. The reboot's failure. When American Restoration returned for its 7th season in January 2016, it was unrecognizable. Instead of focusing on Rick Dale's single shop and family-centered crew, the show shifted to featuring 5 completely separate restoration businesses spread across the country. This change was drastic and disorienting, erasing both the continuity and emotional connection that fans had cherished for 6 seasons. Rather than variety, viewers encountered uniformity. The reboot centered mainly on vehicles, cars, trucks, and motorcycles, diminishing the sweeping range of Americana that once included soda machines, jukeboxes, barber chairs, and more. Fans who had fallen in love with the show's eclectic restorations found themselves watching something that blended into a crowded field of automotive restoration shows already saturating cable. The biggest blow came from the absence of the chemistry that Rick and his family had cultivated. Fans felt like they had lost old friends in Tyler, Ron, Cowboy, and Brettley, characters whose personalities and interactions lent warmth and humor to the original series. The new group lacked this spirit entirely. Their unfamiliarity and rapidly shifting spotlight between shops created a fragmented and hollow viewing experience. Jump cuts between 5 different businesses destroyed narrative cohesion. Just as audiences began to engage with one shop's dynamic, the show cut away to another with completely new characters and projects. There were no ongoing storylines or reasons to care deeply about any particular restoration or craftsman. The result was confusion and a lack of investment. Viewers quickly voiced their dissatisfaction. Many expressed shock and disappointment on social media, calling the changes disastrous and lamenting the removal of what made the original show special. One fan summed it up perfectly. No connection to the audience, focused mainly on vehicles jumping between multiple garages. Someone should have been fired for changing everything. Educational content, which had been a unique strength of American Restoration, was also lost. Early seasons carefully walked audiences through restoration techniques, problem-solving, and the history behind each item. The reboot eliminated these features, showing quick before and after shots with minimal explanation, further disengaging viewers who sought to learn as well as be entertained. Ratings reflected the fan base's withdrawal. Despite efforts to maintain production quality and feature interesting projects, including celebrity restorations and NASCAR trophies, the show could not regain its footing. Its Wikipedia page barely acknowledges Season 7, as if the industry collectively wishes to forget a failed experiment. Within 3 months, on April 1st, 2016, History Channel canceled American Restoration. The network's attempt to replicate success by removing its soul had backfired spectacularly. What was once a cultural phenomenon, driven by authenticity and family, became a cautionary tale of how too much control and disregard for core values can slay even the most beloved shows. Losing the show's heartbeat left viewers longing for the craftsmanship and connection that only Rick Dale and his team could provide. Life after the show. After the American Restoration ended, Rick Dale stepped away from large-scale television restorations and focused on projects that gave him more freedom. Alongside his wife, Kelly, he launched My Best Font Forward Creations, producing laser-cut decor and custom embroidery. The business marked a major shift from restoring vintage treasures, but allowed Rick to continue creating on his own terms, away from the pressures of reality TV. Rick also became an author, publishing classic soda machines, a book celebrating classic Americana and vintage vending machines. While he once maintained an active online presence, he now posts only occasionally, sharing smaller fabrication projects and glimpses of his workshop, reflecting a quieter and more personal creative life. Kelly kind of smoothly transitioned into real estate, using all that recognition she got from the show while also staying tangled up in car shows and community events. Their son Tyler didn't really take the same trail, though. He went his own way, building a career in woodworking, welding, and metal fabrication instead of stepping into the family restoration shop. These days, he's settled in Las Vegas, and he mostly leans into custom fabrication work, plus the whole family life thing. Rick's stepson, Brettley Otterman, basically found his footing by starting Cleanworks Mobile Media Blasting, which is now a busy business focused on sandblasting and soda blasting. It feels like his path shows that restoration know-how, the same kind you saw on television, can still grow even when you do it on your own. At the same time, Rick's brother Ron and their longtime metal polisher, Cowboy, have pretty much backed out of the public spotlight. They've chosen quieter pursuits, and honestly, that suits them. Even so, fans keep wishing for some kind of comeback. But Rick's original restoration shop has never truly returned to television. Instead, he stays in touch through his website, where he offers training, memberships, and live Q&A sessions for folks who are into restoration and that sort of thing. So, in the end, the legacy of American restoration is really about resilience. Once the cameras stopped rolling, Rick Dale and his crew still demonstrated that real craftsmanship doesn't have to rely on television. It keeps existing through passion, skill, and pure, stubborn determination to keep creating. American Restoration's sudden end reveals the harsh reality behind reality TV. Authenticity can clash with entertainment, and not everyone wins. Rick Dale's choice to walk away for integrity cost him fame and fortune, but preserved his craft's dignity. If this story opened your eyes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch the next video appearing on your screen for another look behind the curtain of television's biggest untold stories.